substitute that you can make at home or order out in a restaurant in place of pasta. I can't tell you how many clients of mine have said, I love pasta, but pasta doesn't love me, especially when you're talking about maintaining your weight or you're trying to lose weight. The reason being, if you took a whole cup of cooked pasta, and a whole cup, mind you, isn't a lot. After I get what I'm going to show you cooked, I'll show you what a cup looks like. You know, a cup of cooked pasta can be between 180 and 220 calories. What I'm going to talk about today is a substitute for pasta, and that is spaghetti squash. Now, I think one of the reasons we love pasta too is the sauce and the flavor, and I'm going to give you some recipe ideas that you can do with the spaghetti squash, so you'll be able to get that feeling of contentment with the sauce or whatever flavor. Take in pasta or carbohydrate. Contain between 2 to 3 parts water for every part carbohydrate. Well, you're not going to get that with the spaghetti squash. So let's just start. I'm going to show you what it looks like, and then I have it already cut in half. You cut it in half, and then what we're going to do is just scoop and get rid of, if you can see, all these little seeds. So I'm going to scoop this out. I'll be back in a minute. I'm going to scoop it out, and then you have 3 choices for the way you're going to cook the spaghetti squash. And I actually have the exact directions written down for you so I wouldn't forget. One way is you can put it cut side down with a 1/4 cup of water in it, cover it up, put it in the microwave for about 13 minutes, and then you'll see it'll be tender. If you want, you can even poke holes in the spaghetti squash just to make sure that it cooks throughout pretty evenly. Another way, you can just boil it, put it into a pot of water for 15 or 20 minutes. It'll be pretty much tender by then. Or you can bake it, again, upside down in water, about a 1/4 cup of water for about 45 minutes. Leave it down for 45 minutes. Flip it to the other side for another 15 minutes. And that's about a 350, 375 degree oven. So I'm going to cook it, and then I'll show you what it looks like. I cook spaghetti squash. I'm hoping you can see that basically all you do is start with a fork, go around, and you can't believe how much you can get out of this one little squash. What I'm just going to show you is a cup portion so you can see exactly how much that is. On the internet, there's so many different recipes that you can use with spaghetti squash. I've made a spaghetti squash lasagna. I've done just plain with olive oil and a little seasoning. You can do basil, oregano. You can even put some chives in. You can caramelize it if you like with a little, butter and brown sugar. Not a lot, because the whole idea is to keep the calories down. You can even really substitute it in any recipe where you have pasta. Make a light Alfredo. Again, I mentioned the word light, so there's just a lot of different ways you can substitute it. Now, I happen to love red sauce. I usually make from scratch, but if you don't want to make from scratch, and if you don't have a really great recipe, a lady I had met in the food store had turned me on to Giarusa. Giarusa, and she's from Italy, so I really trusted her judgment. I happen to love this red sauce. This is the hot Sicilian, but she makes all different varieties, the Giarusa, and I really like it. And sometimes I'll just mix that with a little spaghetti squash and cottage cheese with a salad and another vegetable, maybe a little piece of bread, and I'm good to go. Close up, that's a dinner plate, that's a salad plate, and you can see what 1 cup looks like. So a cup of spaghetti squash is about 40 calories, 40 to 50, whereas the same thing with pasta would be between 180 to 220. And spaghetti squash is a vegetable. So you're going to get a little bit more vitamin C, obviously than you would with pasta. So a great substitute to cut the calories, but give you, somewhat of the contentment and satisfaction of having pasta, but without that bloated feeling. Again, it's simple. Cook it, and then just kind of scrape it out, and you have yellow spaghetti. But again, don't be afraid to experiment with different recipes. you know, to try. I happen to love just doing different spices and different flavors. So here's to your health, and let me know what you think of spaghetti squash.